Hey! Welcome back to another episode of Cooking in the Raw. I'm Mark Shelby, aka Shell, your host for today's episode. And I guess you're wondering, what's this tool I have in my hand? Well, this tool is going to be very important for what we're going to do today. This is called a ricer. Not for doing something with rice, but for ricing or mashing cooked potatoes. For today's episode, we're going to do gnocchi. We're coming towards the end of the winter season here, the gnocchi, which is literally potato dumplings. So I'm going to make some of that for you today. Get in the season, get my last bit of vibrant, robust flavors in, and here we go. Let me tell you about the ingredients. So my potatoes are here. I started those potatoes earlier. I just now have to simply take them off and drain them off, because you don't want wet potatoes in your gnocchi. That means you're going to absorb a lot more water, a lot more flour. Oops, cooking in the raw. Unscripted, unedited. Potatoes absorb a lot more flour. So we want very light flour, so we want to have heavy gnocchi. And we want dry potatoes. So I've always done it this way, but there's another method which you can dry roast potatoes, which works just as well. I have my egg, 1 egg, so it looks like about maybe 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds of potatoes there. I got my egg mix here. I have my flour, my sea salt, and that's all there is. Now, a dish like this, you have to get your hands dirty, and that's what we're going to do today here. So let me get my rice here ready. Get myself out a large spoon. Myself out a large spoon. You think that spoon's big enough for this process? Alright, got my bowl here. I'm going to scoop out some of these potatoes. Put them in my ricer. And it should be drained enough. Close. Now watch this. This is going to be great. You want creamy, smooth mashed potatoes or whipped potatoes? Here it is. Look at that. Nice, nice. Look at that process there. It looks like potato spaghetti. So I'm going to squeeze the rest of these, and then we'll show you how this whole process comes together. So here we are. Our riced potatoes. Alright? We don't want it to be too hot, which is most important, because we don't want to cook our little egg mixture here. So let's kind of feather that out a little bit. See what we got here. Alright, good enough to cool. Now we're going to add the salt. This is about a teaspoon of salt that I'm adding here. Then we're going to add our egg. Take care of that. Whoa! Then we're going to add a little bit of flour. Now, the thing with adding the flour is you want to add a little bit at a time. What I have here is about 1.5 cups of flour. You want to add a little bit at a time. So I'm adding like 1/2 cup to start. This is where the dirty part comes in at. Get your hands in there and get it going here. And we want to give it a mix. We're going to get it all mixed together. Little flour at a time, and we're just making a dough. So this process is just like making a pasta dough or a pie dough. That's what we're doing right now. So I'm going to get this mixed up and be very gentle with it, very quick. And then we'll be ready. Add a little more flour to a minute. From this see how easy that was? From this process on, we are simply making a dough, like a bread dough or a pie dough. So we'll knead that together, get all that flour kneaded in, so we have a nice firm dough. Not too firm, because we don't want it to have a heavy gnocchi or a dense gnocchi, but just nice and light and fluffy. So I'll knead this, and we'll be ready to roll out. Alright, so here's our dough here, nice and rested. I'm going to pinch off a piece here. A nice little ball. And now, you don't want very little flour at this point so it can stick to the board, but enough that it doesn't stick to the board. So we're going to get a nice little roll here. Roll this out just like a nice thin rope. You can see that's like really nice and soft and pliable. So a nice thin rope, that's going to make for a nice fluffy piece of gnocchi. So look at that. So you start with the center, and as you roll, start spreading it out with your hands here. Alright, so about the thickness of a finger, because that's going to puff when it begins to cook. Alright, so there we go there. Now the good thing about gnocchi, it doesn't have to be perfect. So now we make our about an inch thick here. See, I'm just making little cuts here, so I know exactly where I want to cut, like little pillows. So I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of this pillow. Alright? So now, make our cuts all the way through. Look at those. Look how nice those look. It's like little bitty potato pillows. Now, you'll see this a lot here. You know, when they make gnocchi, they take the tines of the fork here to make those nice little indentations. It's simply just a press and a slide. Boom. There you go. Press and a slide. Just to get the indentations. You can see right here. Zoom that in. You can see the indentations right there. Alright, so now that we have some gnocchi made, I have a lot more gnocchi to make the rest of the evening, but I want to get you through this process. I'm going to cook this up. Now, general rule of thumb when cooking gnocchi, salted boiling water, but enough water that it won't stick, and you're cooking them until they float. So we're talking about anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how many gnocchi that you're making. Now, they have the tendency to bunch together. What we don't want is for them to stick. And what we're going to do for a sauce, we just do a simple garlic butter sauce. Is what we're going to prepare for these. So I have my butter and my slivers of garlic. My slivers of garlic here. I have unsalted butter here and parsley. Then I'm going to do some salt and some cracked pepper. So let's get some butter in our pan here. So when those are ready, will be ready. So I don't want to do brown butter, I just want just a nice light melted butter with some of the garlic. Okay, how about all the garlic here? Alright, so that's cooking up real nice. You know, enough water for them to boil. Kind of get a look at that, if you will. Look at those puppies float. Gnocchi. I mean, look how easy that was to do. So they're floating. We'll give them a couple more minutes to make sure that the flour gets cooked through. And they are floating to the top, just as expected. Let's get our other ingredients ready here. Butter is melting. Now you can do a combination of butter and oil if you like. You can use a tomato sauce, you can use a meat sauce. I mean, any flavor you want for the most part in flavoring your gnocchi. I'm just going to go real simple. Again, the garlic, salt, and pepper. And I'm using sea salt again here. Alright, let's get that turned up. Now, as you can see, they're sitting on top of the water. You know? Nice and fluffy. Like little pillows. And it doesn't mind. I mean, that's the thing about homemade cooking. You know, it doesn't mind if things are irregular. That's how your guests can tell they're homemade and didn't come out of a machine. We'll let that finish. Let me get some more butter. The more butter, the better. I kind of like the way that sounds. More butter. It's one of those dishes where you don't stand on ceremony. Ah, you can smell that garlic. This is going to be a nice little sip of butter sauce. Okay, we have a little bit more of our pepper in here. Ah! That would have been nice. A little bit more salt. Now, let's take our gnocchi out here. Get those into our butter. Oh, listen at that sizzle. They're ready, doing their thing. I mean, you can toss in some onions in with this. There's so many different things you can do with this. Because right now, the dish is neutral. Get my serving bowl ready. Here. So get that to toss with the butter. Throw in some parsley for some color. And there is your dish. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed this, cooking in the raw, making gnocchi. I'm going to take a taste here. And until next time, our next episode of Cooking in the Raw, where I introduce you to different foods that I enjoy cooking, and I hope you learned something from all this. It's a very simple dish to make. Oh yeah. I'll see you next time. Bye.